We are live. Okay, welcome. Hello, everyone. I am Krista with Papapietro Perry Winery. I am here with Brit Welsh, but we're going to call you Brit because we've become friends now, from Beehive Cheese Company. And you guys are our newest best friends in the cheese world because we are going to be doing a wine, cheese, and chocolate pair on October 7th. It's already on the website. We've already got people joining us. So we're going to learn a sneak peek, learn about the cheeses today. And I've got wine in front of me. Unfortunately, Brit lives in Utah, and Utah does not make it easy. So he is Rolodexing all of his relatives who live in surrounding states. So if anybody's on their way to Utah anytime soon, let us know. We will.
Please.
You'll use some wine in, not cheese, and you already got cheese. Anyways, welcome and thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you, Kristen. And actually, I don't have wine in front of me, but I do have some Utah cheese. So while we are a bit regressive in being able to get a hold of good wine in this state, good cheese is now common to find here. So I'm excited to get talking to you guys. And if we have questions, do we have a chat? And
I've got all the comments that'll come through, and Ron's already on, which Ron, perfect. I'm going to see you October 8th. Because Ron is coming he's from New Jersey. He's going to come visit us. And I'll actually be curious if anybody who does listen to us, if you've had the Beehive cheeses, let us know. Because where are you available?
So yeah, you can find us across the country, Whole Foods or like the Murray's shop in Kroger stores. You can find it there. And really anywhere you find specialty cheese, there's a good chance that they'll have Beehive. So keep an eye out.
How many cheeses do you make?
We make about a dozen, and then across the country, you can get a good half a dozen of them. So a good variety.
That is awesome. Okay, well, I have got so I swung to the store yesterday, and luckily they had 2 pieces left, and I have a cheese called Barely Buzzed. So this is Barely Buzzed, and it's Barely Buzzed because what is this black stuff on the outside?
So that is a crust or a hand-rubbed rind of coffee and lavender buds, of course, because that's the most natural thing you do with cheese.
Oh, I always put lavender in my. Actually, places in Healdsburg now have lavender coffee. So that is funny.
It's totally, I mean, if you think about it, it's a very natural pairing. So first of all, you put cream in your coffee. Yes. So now we're just reversing that and putting coffee in our cream.
Yep.
But then also, if you think about coffee, really rich, robust, big flavors, balanced by a light, floral, kind of bitter lavender. So it sounds crazy until you start dissecting it, and it works really well.
No, it totally works. And you're right about the cheese with coffee. And I use that a lot when I tell people one of the reasons cheese pairs so well with wine is because the creaminess cuts the acidity in wine. And that's what cream does when you're having coffee. It kind of cuts some of that acidity. So, and I love the fact you add the coffee and the lavender. And if you've been to a winery before pre-COVID, which is now an official word, pre-COVID, we did a Pinot on the patio tasting, and we had your Barely Buzzed on ours. And I'm trying to remember which Pinot we paired it with, or if we paired it with our Zinfandel, and I don't remember. I am pairing it today with our 2017 Laris Family Vineyard because our October 7th tasting, we are doing the 17 Laris, our 17 Campbell Ranch, and our 18 Peters. And I thought, why not? Why not jump in a sneak peek for me? So you're pairing yours with water.
Correct, since I'm very exciting today. Not by choice, mind you.
I'm going to try my little pairing while you tell me who is Beehive, and do bees have anything to do with it? But who is Beehive? Where did the name come from? How long have you been around? Give me a little history of Beehive.
Yeah, definitely. So the first thing we had to figure out was how to milk a bee. They just have their wee little tiny udders. And I laugh, but actually having done the farmer's market for about 5 years while I went through school, that's by far the most common question. Now, how do you make cheese out of honey?
Do people really ask that?
Yeah, they ask that, and they're very curious. And the crazy thing is they're actually not wrong because we do have one of our cheeses that we make that's rubbed instead of with coffee, it's rubbed with honey, and that's our Beehive. That's actually our second most popular cheese behind the coffee one.
I'm sorry, rubbed with honey?
Rubbed with sea salt and honey.
Yeah, I need to get some of that.
Add it to your list.
That's added to my list.
So that being said, though, so Utah is the Beehive state. So California is the Golden State, Missouri, the Show Me State. So when we started a creamery, it was very impromptu and spontaneous. So my dad was one of the founders of the company, as well as my uncle. So my dad had a background in project management at a software firm. My uncle sold recreational real estate out in eastern Utah. So the natural life cycle for those two careers is to evolve into artisan cheesemaking.
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
But really what kind of the inspiring thing, the brainchild that came to be Beehive Cheese, my mom was a flight attendant. So back in the day, we had the opportunity to travel a lot to Europe. And it's crazy as you're hopping from town to town when you're in the Netherlands or France or Northern Italy, you'll go from one town to the next and every town will have its own cheese that you'll go 20 miles away and they'll have a slightly different variation. And thinking about it, Utah used to be that way. The Western United States used to be that way. We'd have local tastes. And as you go from town to town, different craftspeople would make their craft differently. Same thing with wine or distilling or beer making. And what you found after World War II, kind of that Cold War industrialization era, is all these mom and pop little farms started getting kind of hoovered up into larger operations. To by the time you got to the 90s, 2000s, there really was nothing other than the dream of what we used to have. So Beehive Cheese was founded with the idea of bringing back the local creamery to northern Utah. And with that, we wanted to take local flavors. We actually took a local recipe developed by our local ag university up at Utah State. And then, of course, because white cheddars, you throw a stick in a grocery store and you can find 16 white cheddars. But really our innovation and our contribution to the cheese world has been the idea of rubbing rinds on it to create crazy, unique experiences that we can share and enjoy.
Oh, I absolutely love the whole thought of bringing back the individual location into the product, because that's what wine is all about, right? It's all about the terroir. It's all about that mix of land and air and everything around it. And you're simply doing that locally with the cheese, which is fascinating. So in essence, your wine, oh my God, your cheese is the same base cheese, but you're putting the different rinds and the different flavors in.
Correct. And I think it's also important to understand. So terroir everywhere is different. And the cows in Utah's not a nice place. It's the second driest state in the country. We have very, very hot summers, very cold winters. And the cows have to go through very different life cycles, and the kind of a lifestyle, and the feed is very different here. So our dairy is a 4th generation dairy owned by the Wade family out in Western Ogden. So that's 15 miles away from us. And the milk is about 2 hours out of the girls when we get it and start making it a cheese right away. And that freshness makes a difference. What they're doing makes a difference. So it's a real snapshot of our place, and we get to share it.
Oh, that is absolutely, I'm terrified of cows, but that's absolutely very scary. That's fascinating. And I have a girlfriend, like I said, who lives in South Weber, or did I pronounce it right?
Weber. We need to pronounce everything in Utah a little different. Weber.
Okay, that's okay. South Weber. And now I'm going to have to come visit just simply so I can visit you with the cheese. Do you have a cheese shop on site people can visit?
Yep. Yeah, small little cheese shop, open to the public, but it's kind of the best kept secret in northern Utah because it's kind of hard to find.
If Terry shows up, don't let her stay too long. That's all I'm going to tell you, because I'm clearly going there. I'm going to make Terry go visit you. So you do 12 different cheeses, so the different styles of rinds, and you are available online, of course, right? So you can order your cheeses online. You can ship everywhere.
We ship everywhere in the United States. Yep. And we can get your cheese. It's perishable, so we need to be very quick about it. I'm sure wine is very similar. We take really good care to get you your stuff on time and in good shape. But if you order it, you'll get it within a week. So nice.
Marjorie says she loves the coffee Beehive cheese. So she's had that before too. I'm curious, who's had the cheese out there? Because now I love the fact that you're accessible and people can find you and you can ship, because it is no fun going somewhere and you taste the product and you can't get it at home or you can't reorder it. So hopefully Jessica's going to put up your website on here too. If she didn't already, she might have already. She did already. Okay. So it's up there. So people want to order cheese, which is great. Or October 7th, join us for our wine, cheese, and chocolate, because Brit's coming back on along with, I think, Susan and Jeff from Volo, and then one of our tasting room hosts to do that thing, which we love. So let's see. What is CCP?
So the CCP is a certification by the American Cheese Society. So a CCP, a good way of thinking about it, it would be the cheese world's equivalent of a sommelier. So with that, we have really kind of three aspects of the test. The first one is cheese making, which is really easy for me since I started making cheese when I was 13 years old. Just kind of course, when your parents start a business, small business, doesn't matter what you do, but you are instantly press-ganged into that business. So
free labor.
Exactly. Underpaid, abused labor. So cheese making, which fortunately I've had some exposure, so that was a little easier. Cheese preparation, so how to serve it, all of that element. And then the last part, which is really complicated, is all of the diverse cheeses of the world. So if you think about it, what was it? The like 118 like just different names of cheeses in France, and just kind of going through and starting to learn, okay, the little differences between all of those cheeses. So it was
how many different cheeses are there?
A bazillion. I'd say a few hundred between all of the various.
So different styles.
Yep, different styles. There's going to be fewer, but still quite a lot of variation and crazy stuff out there.
Okay, so Michael's saying you need to sell the cheese in Ohio and Michigan. He hears it is amazing. Oh, you want to sell it in stores in Ohio and Michigan? He's jumping on it again. He has said it twice. Don't make him say it a third time. He wants he said he can help you do that. Michael Scalaro. All right, Michael.
Okay. I don't know how we can get in touch. Is there a way we can get in touch, Kristen?
Yeah, Michael. Let's do this. Let's connect you guys.
I'm ready.
What did you just ask me? Dan just sent me up a note. Did you have to do it? So do you have to do like a test to be the CCP?
So the CCP is a written test. So it's like 125 question test in like an hour and a half that your brain just like melts into nacho cheese by the end of it. Yeah. And then there's a second portion to the education, which is actually the sensory portion. And that you actually are sitting there. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a Utah voice. This is hilarious to me, but Napoleon Dynamite was a movie that came out a bunch of years ago, and they're like smelling it. They're like, the defect in this one is bleach. That was literally that test, is like smelling it and being like, okay, there's like onion in this milk. And then you taste the cheese and you're like, okay, the defect in this one is like texture.
And you have to do that?
Yeah, that was also part of kind of an add-on to the certification.
Oh, I always joke that master sommeliers, which I'm so impressed with, can go, the winemaker was wearing Nikes, and they can tell you every little thing about what went into that wine.
I'm getting tennis ball in this one.
I'm getting, I think he was wearing a tan shirt when these were picked. I know they're amazing, the stuff they can pick. I treat cheese like wine. Do I like it? Do I not like it?
There you go.
Is it good? Is it bad? Because there are so many cheeses out there, and cheese is just as delicious as wine. It's very dangerous.
Well, and there's a lot to explore in the world. And I agree. Like you're saying, at the end of the day, you like it or you don't. And just by learning a little bit more about it, learning about the vintage, learning about the winemaker, learning about the dairy, learning about cheese making in general, it just makes it a more kind of comprehensive, fun experience. But at the end of the day, you don't need to be fancy to enjoy something.
Like it, cheesemakers, are those called cheesemongers? What's a cheesemonger?
So cheesemakers make the cheese, cheesemongers sell the cheese and prepare it and get it to you.
Look at you. Okay, and so you mentioned the right way to serve cheese, which got me curious. What is the right way to serve cheese?
So a really, really easy way for us to think about it, being wine people. So you get a really nice bottle of wine. Like this is the like maybe $60 bottle of wine that you're going to be popping. Yeah, there you go. And you take it and you put it in the freezer 45 minutes before your friends come over. And they come over and there's like little crystal ice cubes in the red wine. And they're like, oh, it tastes like grape juice. And literally that's all it tastes like. Yes. So cheese is the same way. But what's going to cause the experience and the flavor in the cheese are the volatiles, or those aromas they give off. Right. So if I take my piece of Barely Buzzed out of the fridge and it's ice cold and I put it on the counter, it's dead. It's just sitting there. All of the aromas are trapped in there, just like a really nice glass of wine. So what you want to do, get it out an hour before and let it come to room temperature. Really release the volatiles. And then your red wine, again, is releasing those volatiles. And the reason cheese and wine are so amazing together, you have the texture, which you talked about, but also those aromas, the coffee combining with the chocolate, combining with the lavender, just thousands of things can create one undefinable, amazing experience.
So I do agree on taking, normally with like the breeze and whatnot, I do like to take it out of the fridge traditionally the night before, because I like my goopy runny, right? And I like that you say that, because I think, I don't know if it's just Americans, we are terrified of not refrigerating stuff. We are terrified of serving things warm to think it'd be bad. And I do like cheese when it is softer. And I like what you say, because normally I will keep it in the fridge until I'm ready to eat it, and then I pop it on a plate. But an hour, can you go longer?
You can definitely go longer. So an hour is just kind of the safe side. Right. But cheese is alive. I mean, if you go through the effort of finding a really great piece of cheese, you can wake it back up. And I can tell you everything in there is busy. So there are no germs in there, because anything that could make you sick has already been killed by something else that's causing the cheese flavor.
Okay. Oh, that is awesome. I like actually knowing that. Now I'm gonna have to wait another hour before I eat the rest of my cheese, because I took it right out of the fridge at like 3. Well, 3. It's 4:16. I'm doing good on that one. What was the first cheese Beehive made?
So our base cheese is called Promontory. It's a Utah cheddar. The cheddar recipe was developed up at Utah State. So it's a white cheddar made with Jersey cow's milk. So very creamy. Jersey cows are the little ones, not the big black and white ones. They're the little brown ones with the really big eyelashes that look like they're out of like Snow White.
Cute. Yeah.
And that's going to cause a lot of creaminess, really delicious milk. So Promontory actually is our most award-winning cheese. We've won about 60 international awards across the United States and also Europe with that base cheese. And it's amazing, like an amazing base cheese.
And did you go to the university?
So I have been to the university to do the technical training, and then I did actually went to, and I got a degree in communication in the University of Utah, of course, because you need to learn a little bit more about life.
And have you always worked for Beehive?
I started when I was 13 as a cheesemaker for 8 years, and then did the farmer's market for about 5 years, and then I've been doing it kind of as a career and passion and life's work for about 5 years.
And when you say you do the farmer's market, because one of my favorite things I Googled about you was that you're an avid farmer's market junkie. I love farmer's markets. I think they are amazing. We are blessed out here. We get phenomenal stuff in our farmer's market. So if you guys, how many farmer's markets do you do? Are they just where you are located?
Yep. So we do 2 farmer's markets. We do the Salt Lake, which is a little bit south of us in the kind of the bigger city of Salt Lake, and then the Ogden, which is kind of up and coming. So don't tell anybody about it, because it's getting really hot. We need to keep this lock and keep. You guys are welcome. We're cool.
Secrets safe with me.
But yeah, it's fun doing the farmer's market, and you have your regulars and you talk about things, and it's less fun now that with COVID, we're not really sampling and people don't get to actually experience it. Yeah. But it's fun. It's just fun getting out there and being with your fans.
And you get to do your shopping while you're there.
Exactly. Get bread and veggies.
You trade cheese for bread and trade cheese for.
Actually,
you guys have like an inner secret network that you're just trading product and coming back with baskets of deliciousness.
I have like 40 things of locally made hot sauce. Yeah.
Oh, I knew it. I'm gonna have to go to the farmer's market with some wine and come back with a bunch of stuff one day. Okay, so your first cheese. That's okay. So tell me about making friends with cheese, because I think that's awesome.
Oh my, this is like, it's a good story, but good for me and probably fun for other people to hear. So about 5 years ago, when I was starting to look at, okay, what do I want to do when I grow up? I actually went to business school, and just this idea of like, okay, what do we want to do with this crazy cheese company that we've put together? And it was an autumn day, pretty close to this time of year, maybe about a month. We're sitting in my dad's house up in the mountains, and just beautiful fall colors. And we're sitting around with our feet up, and like, what have we liked about this whole cheese journey over the last 10 years? And we all just start like kind of rolling off stories and riffing off that and just sharing this. Milking bees? Do they really think we milk bees? But at the end of the day, what it comes down to is what we love about this is the opportunity for us to get out there and the friends we've made with cheese. We've made friends in the industry. The cheese community is incredibly open, and we're an incredible charcuterie board of diversity ourselves. Our customers and fans are incredible. incredible. I think it's the same with wine. Like, can you imagine selling tires where your customer would be like?
I always say the wine business is one of the least competitive businesses in the sense that we all work together. If you succeed selling cheese, and well, if X winery succeeds selling wine, we're succeeding selling wine because people want to drink good wine. And if we're making a good product, we're going to do great. And everybody works together. And it sounds like that's a little bit of what you're saying with other than that's amazing. That's awesome. It makes you feel good.
And it comes to making friends with cheese. If we're doing that, then we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, which is a pretty blessed life.
Do you have other creameries? Because it's a creamery, right? In essence.
Yep.
You have other creameries that helped you get a start. You helped get a start. You guys kind of have all worked together and evolved together. So wait, when did Beehive start? What year?
2005. So 16 years ago.
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy.
Don't make me do the math on how old you are. You're young.
I'm 30.
Oh, thank you. I didn't want to do the math. I had to carry and subtract numbers, and that just wasn't going to happen at all. So 2005, you started, did you take over an existing? Did you guys just say, we think we want to do, where did this come from?
Our creamery, before we did kind of the build out to make a really cool, food safe artisan creamery, was a trampoline warehouse.
Oh,
so we are probably one of the most scrappy cheesemakers in the country.
Oh, you jumped right into it?
Yes, we jumped right into it.
Sorry.
But yeah, so when my dad and uncle started making cheese, they had gone to a 4-day cheese making short course. So between the two of them, they had 8 days of cheese making experience. The kicker, however, is between all of the used equipment that we bought at like bargain basement deals from other creameries, we had like 370 years of experience in our make room. So,
oh, that is awesome. So we started in the garage. Ben Papapietro and Bruce Perry started making wine in their garage in San Francisco. We're bootleggers for years. And a lot of our first equipment was begboard or stolen, where, well, now I'm going to get in trouble for saying that, but where we bought the stuff that somebody else was getting rid of because they bought new fancy equipment, and we gladly were taking their old equipment. And we kind of started, no schooling. We didn't even, I don't think Ben took 4 days of classes, but no schooling, but in 8. So are they in 8? Is it just, they get it? It's
problem solving. We had the first day we made cheese, we put the hoops in upside down. So instead of the whey pouring out, which is supposed to do, it was like pooling in there.
Nice.
So we got this like 2,000 pound press and like flipped it over. And then the next day we figured out, oh, actually we can just put the hoops in upside down.
I like it. Well, that's the best way to learn. You won't make that mistake again. Ron is asking if you make, I think you only make cow's milk cheese, right? Ever do sheep or goat? Have you tried with sheep or goat?
Oh, we made sheep's milk cheese one time with sheep's milk from Idaho, and it was incredible. We used our same recipe, made the same cheddar. It was lovely cheese. And farming sheep in our area is so difficult that he went out of business after a few months. So we didn't have a source of it. So if any of you guys on this call happen to be like dairy sheep farmers or goat farmers in Utah, again, work the magic. Let's talk.
Oh, so you would do sheep or goat's milk cheese, but the sheep and goat, that's hard to say. The sheep and goat are harder to come by.
Correct. They're not as they don't produce as much volume as dairy cows.
Interesting. Oh, well, see, so we go right back to this whole terroir piece, where in certain areas, so we do Pinot Noir. That's what we make, Russian River Pinot Noir. But our winery is located itself in Dry Creek Valley, 5 minutes down the road. But Dry Creek Valley is too hot to produce the Pinot Noirs we want. And so technically, if I correlate this, we couldn't have sheep or goat either because the land we're at only does cow. Does that even make any sense?
To an extent. And frankly, I mean, farming goats and sheep is a lot harder. I mean, it's just harder.
Are they harder?
Yeah.
So we like sheep to eat all the stuff in the middle of the vineyard rows throughout harvest. And right now the goats out here, because we are very dry and we're in fire season dry, the goat farmers are loving California because everyone is buying they rent them out here. You rent the goats to eat all of the brush along the freeways, all the brush along the highways and in the parks. They're eating all the stuff so they don't burn.
There you go.
On our fires, which is so if you have the goat and sheep guys want to come and feed their goats, we're hiring and then go milk them over in Utah, and we can just do beautiful work together.
You can just have them graze right along I-80 on their way to Utah.
We use sheep in the vineyards because our heads are too heavy to lift up and eat the vines. Is that true?
Yes. That's we don't use goats in the vineyard because they'll eat the vines.
We don't use goats because it's true. Goats eat everything, and
goats
we don't
eat
want
everything.
them to eat
This
the
is
vine.
true.
They eat everything.
Too heavy to lift up and eat the vines.
Sheep are too lazy, is what I'm hearing, to reach up and eat the vines. Okay, so that is interesting. And how many? So you work with a dairy. You guys don't own a dairy.
Correct.
That's awesome. We source all of our grapes too. So you guys source all your milk. How many cows? Do you know?
They are a fairly large herd. They have about 5,000 head.
That's a large herd. That's a very large herd. I think not fairly. I think very.
Yeah. So and it's smaller for Utah standards, and we only use a portion of their milk, and the rest goes to a co-op or co-op that's made into Swiss cheese that you can find. Yeah. So pretty cool.
Nice. Okay. And so what are some of your cheeses? So I know you do the Barely Buzzed, which is that your most widely produced or what's your highest production?
So our Barely Buzzed is our most popular cheese. That's about like a quarter of the cheese that we will sell. So Barely Buzzed, the Sea Hive is always very popular as well with the salt and honey. And then our like dark horse that's been doing really well, especially during the summer months, is our Hatch Chili. Red Butte Hatch Chili. So it has chili in the paste of the cheese, and it's really good.
Oh, that sounds good. And then I know there's one with one of my other favorite beverages, which is bourbon. Pour me a slice.
Yep.
I like that. In bourbon, okay, and so Utah has some little, they're very particular about getting deliveries of wine, i.e. we cannot ship to Utah, but we can't ship to Mississippi either, so you're not alone. But Utah's very particular, and I know Utah, by the way, makes some great bourbons. I have some High West actually in my cupboard. Utah makes some great bourbons and great beers, but you don't use the High West. You don't use a Utah. Well, you can't be a bourbon if it's from Utah. It has to be from Kentucky, right?
Yeah, Kentucky or a couple other states there.
I get mixed up. I get whiskey.
I don't want to speak wrong here, but I think bourbon needs to be American made.
Doesn't it have to be Kentucky?
Maybe not.
I think it needs to be American made. That's
okay. Well, so we have American made. Well, good job getting American made. I don't know who else makes bourbon though. I'm sure other places make bourbon. Anybody else make bourbon?
Yeah.
Tennessee, but that's American.
Yeah. No, only American. It's like PD. It's like
it is American. Okay. It's telling me to get off the bourbon topic, but you get Basil Hayden.
Correct. So partnership with Basil Hayden.
And how do you get Basil Hayden to Utah?
So before we'd go to the liquor store and we'd be buying at retail these like little itty bitty bottles, and we had like a line all the way like down the hall of all of the bourbon bottles we were using. So we actually reached out to Basil Hayden, and now we get it in a tote. So it's like a big 500-gallon tote of cask strength, amazing bourbon that we're not allowed to drink.
Which I want one of those.
Yeah.
And in order, Michael's loving that you said cupboard. I don't know if I said cupboard or you said cupboard, but in order to get the bourbon to you, because he told me this earlier, and I do find it fascinating. What did you have to do? Because if we can't even ship a 750 milliliter bottle of bourbon, a bottle of wine to Utah, how do you get a tote of bourbon?
So we had to get a permit through the state, and it actually required that the owners of the company got background checks through the state in order to like get vetted that they were kosher. And I think we could be audited like at any time. Yeah, like it's straight up.
That's unbelievable to me. I think that is absolutely.
Utah's exciting, and
you've got great outdoor stuff, though.
True.
I hear great things about Utah. I just haven't been yet. Let's see. So, make sure I covered my subjects because we're running to our half hour. Is that crazy?
Crazy.
It goes by so quickly. Well, a couple of our members tuned in, and they were all eating all kinds of other cheeses, which is great. Now they know to try your cheese, which I think they will do it. And let's see, we've got more virtuals coming up. So again, October 7th, there is still time to order and join us. If you want to hear more from Brit, you want to Volo chocolate again. And then, of course, one of our tasting room hosts, we are doing another wine, cheese, and chocolate. Think chocolate cheesecake. It is absolutely amazing. And I'm having your Barely Buzz with our 17 layers going absolutely fantastic together. So I can't wait to see other pairings. And do you sell your cheeses in Texas?
Yes, HEB or Kroger.
HEB or Kroger. Again, online. That might be the easiest way to get some of these, because I'm going to get some of that Sea Hive cheese. Oh, Sea Hive, I just got it. All right, we got some other I'm a little slow. We just have some other virtuals coming up. We've got a virtual bingo. We do wine and bingo. I think you guys should do cheese and bingo.
Correct.
I think that would be amazing. Cheese and bingo. We've got a Pinot and Paella that's going to be happening soon. We like to eat. We are foodies too. I saw you were a foodie. You got to come visit us, and we'll all get some food together. We are starting to go out and about and travel again. We're going to be down in San Diego in November. We are doing Healdsburg Crush, which is a big Pinot event in Healdsburg in October. We're in Palm Springs in January. We cruise. Our winery cruises. We're doing Istanbul to Rome in 2023. I did San Diego. Is Paella still for December 10th? Yes, Yolanda. As far as I know, it is still for December 10th. Oh, it might not be on our website yet, but secret. We won't tell anybody. No, Brit, you were a delight. You were absolutely fantastic. You've got some great energy. I enjoyed talking to you. Now you got to come visit us.
Definitely. Thank you, Kristen. What a treat. Enjoying some wine talk. Now I just need to enjoy some wine drinking.
We got to get you some wine. Well, so I need Sea Hive. We will get you wine. We're going to do this thing. We'll see you again October 7th. Super cool. But thanks for taking the time for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Kristen. And thanks, everybody. Enjoy beautiful wines.
And Brit, you don't have to go yet. We're going to say goodbye to everybody else, and we're going to talk about everybody. I'm kidding. We're not going to talk. Well, we might talk about everybody. If I can hit the word and